The pennant race continues. Bobby Bonilla showing the way. Top 10 in batting in the National League. Top dog in the clubhouse. Moises Alou closing in on 100 RBIs. It's not yet September. The Cards, got to know when to hold them, got to know when to fold them. They're here from St. Louis, and Mark McGwire is getting familiar with the National League. The Marlins chasing Atlanta. The Cardinals chasing Houston. Is it in the cards? Live at ProPlayer Stadium in Miami, Sports Channel presents Florida Marlin Baseball. Tonight, the Marlins take on Mark McGwire and the St. Louis Cardinals in the first of a very important three-game series. Hello again, baseball fans. Joe Angel with Tommy Hutton. It's a very important game here against the St. Louis Cardinals. They'll be here for the entire weekend. You talk about the Marlins offensively. You can talk about Moises Alou, who's been hitting about 344 his last 24 games, and also hitting over 350 against the Cardinals so far this year. You could talk about Gary Sheffield, a home run on Wednesday. That could be a sign of things to come. Or we talk about Bobby Bonilla. Right now, Tommy, in the midst of a 10-game hitting streak. You know, Bobby Bonilla had a great second half at Baltimore last year, including a great September. He could come in handy in the final month.
Joe, I think it's great that we have so many that we can talk about. But let's go with Bobby Bonilla, who is on a tear. You know, Bobby Bonilla 3 times has hit over 300. He has a great chance to do that again for his 4th time. 3 times he's had over 100 RBIs in his career. He has 80 right now, so another good chance for him to go over that century mark in the RBIs.
Of course, now you talk about the St. Louis Cardinals, and even though he's been a Cardinal for just a little while, everybody's talking about Mark McGwire on that first homestand in St. Louis. 5 home runs. Boy, they love this guy in St. Louis, Tom.
Well, he hit some home runs, but he hit some tape measure shots, some bombs, too. So it's fun to see Mark McGwire hit if you're not a pitcher 60 feet 6 inches away. He settled in a little bit better over the last 9 games, hitting close to 350. His 8-year average, I included 8 years because 2 years he was injured and only played about 70 games during those 2 years. In the 8 years, he averaged 39 home runs and 100 RBIs. Those were in the years that he was healthy.
Yeah, the people came out to watch him take batting practice. There was no batting practice here tonight, but the game will be getting started. We'll take a look at the pitching matchup brought to you by Southwest. Tony Saunders trying to even his record. Tommy, he's got to throw strikes.
Yeah, Tony Saunders has won 3 games against the Braves. He's looking to win a game against somebody else, and I look at Matt Morris almost the way Tony has pitched against the Braves. Matt Morris is 2-0 against the Florida Marlins. The Marlins need to get to him.
All right, a couple of rookie pitchers going at it head-to-head. All the play-by-play next.
Florida Marlins baseball on Sports Channel is being brought to you in part by Bell South. Nobody knows a neighbor like neighbor. By Southwest Airlines. With fares so low, you have the freedom to go place and do things you never thought possible. Fly Southwest Airlines. By Toyota's quality line of cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. By the Discover Card, a proud partner of the Smithsonian's 150th anniversary. By Genuine Chevrolet, he's got something for you. By Discount Auto Parts, get the low price. Go with the pros you know at Discount Auto Parts. By ProPlayer, wear the attitude. By AutoNation USA with up to 1,000 remarkably low price pre-owned cars. AutoNation USA, the better way to buy a car. And by Miller Lite, who reminds you that anything can happen at Miller time.
All right, Marlins out there defensively. The Cardinals right now 8.5 games behind Houston in the Central. They feel they still got a shot, but they've got to score runs more consistently. And of course, Florida right now only 4 games back of Atlanta in the Eastern Division. There's no question they've got a shot. And there's left-hander Tony Saunders just now making his appearance as he'll take on the St. Louis Cardinals here tonight, managed by Tony La Russa. And his lineup brought to you by Bell South here. DeShields with 3 home runs against Florida pitching so far this year, including 2 in 1 game. Clayton has a couple of home runs against the Marlins so far this year. We'll take a look at Mark McGwire for the first time in a Cardinal uniform tonight. And of course, Langford, he's been dangerous lately. Gant and Gotti in the middle. Pagnazzi, Schaefer at the bottom. The Cardinals, great pitching, but offensively very inconsistent. If they are going to become legitimate contenders, They've got to figure out a way to become more consistent with the bats.
And there's a look at the defense. It's pretty similar to what you've been seeing over the last few weeks. So Lou White and Sheffield in the outfield. We're focusing in on Edgar Renteria. Edgar with 13 errors, and I think over the last month probably been telling you that Edgar and Royce Clayton, the guy who's here tonight playing shortstop for the Cardinals, a couple of guys who I feel have a good shot to win the Gold Glove this year as a shortstop. Clayton with 11 errors, Edgar with 13. We'll get a chance to see them pick it tonight. There's the shortstop for St. Louis. He's their number 2 hitter, Royce Clayton. Tony Saunders just trying to get into the strike zone. He knows he's a competitor. He's a battler. Jim Leland knows that even when he's not in that strike zone, he'd love to see him get there more consistently, but he also realizes that Tony's quite a competitor and is able to work out of some of the jams that he's been himself into.
There's the left-handed Tony Saunders with a couple of final warm-up tosses. We'll look at the umpires in this game. It'll be Mike Winters behind the plate. Angel Hernandez will be at first base. Scott Potter at second base, and Jerry in the slow lane will be at third. Weather conditions 85 degrees, just a gentle breeze under partly cloudy skies. First of a 3-game series against St. Louis, and here's Delano DeShields to get the game started. Now, if Saunders is going to be successful, he's got to throw strikes. He's walked 36 men in his last 45 2/3 innings. And his record, 3 wins and 4 losses. DeShields bluffing a bunt, takes a strike instead.
And I think it's ever so important to see Tony Saunders come out and have himself a successful first inning.
Well, he's only 23, still learning, and he backed DeShields off the plate. Making his second appearance against the St. Louis Cardinals. They had a no decision in St. Louis in a ball game on July 26th. There's CJ coming back, but he runs out of real estate.
Also, Joe, I think it's great to have Charles Johnson behind the plate, because anytime the Cardinals come into town, and you go back to the 80s, they always put a lot of speed into their lineup, and speed tonight with DeShields and Clayton and Langford. So CJ will be tested this evening as the rains start to fall.
Yeah, we said it was partly cloudy skies. Now they're partly rainy skies as DeShields takes up an inning. So it is even up at 2-2. Some of the fans in the lower deck have begun to head for cover. Little breaking ball, grounded to Counsell. On to Dutch. 1 gone. Well, DeShields, who had great success against Florida pitching with a batting average of .385 against him so far this year, including 3 home runs, and he had 2 in 1 game in St. Louis. But he is quietly tired, and now here's Royce Clayton. And Clayton takes a high fastball. Right now, Bonilla even with the bag at third base. Royce Clayton, a batting average of .251, and does have a home run against Saunders this year, and he takes a call strike.
So far, we've seen Tony use that breaking ball very successfully and get it in the strike zone.
Well, we told you about the Cardinals offensively. They've left a lot to be desired this year. Their pitching is outstanding. They've got a great rotation. And there's a high inside fastball. But they've been very inconsistent offensively, which has led to a record of 10 games under 500 at 58 and 68. Now, this week, they have picked up a couple of games on Houston, although they gave one back last night, and a tough one too, Tommy. The Cardinals absorbing a very tough loss while the Astros were winning over Colorado. So once again, the Cardinals 8.5 games off the pace. But believe me, that man right there, he has told his ball club that if they can get the deficit down to about 4 or 5 games into September, they're right there.
He'll take his chances.
Changeup, and that's what Saunders has to do. Get ahead, and then the changeup. And you saw Royce Clayton way out in front.
Well, and the thing that'll happen too, if he gets ahead with his other pitches, he can use the changeup. Then all of a sudden the changeup will feel good to him. He'll get the feel. Then he can start throwing it any time of the count. But that was a beautiful one there.
Boy, that was a great shot of it too. You see the arm motion, the arm speed of Tony Saunders when he throws that changeup. It looks like he's throwing a fastball, and all of a sudden the ball just comes floating out of his left hand. And by the time the hitter realizes it, it's just simply too late. Now the big guy here. 1-1 to Mark McGwire. And Tommy, they tell me that this guy's become a Pied Piper in St. Louis. Everywhere he goes, people flock. They've opened up the gates in St. Louis now a half hour earlier so the fans can come out and watch Mark McGwire take batting practice. He got a standing ovation in St. Louis at Busch Stadium on his first at-bat. He couldn't believe it. And look at that. And McGwire couldn't believe that. A call strike 3 on the outside corner. And under some rainy skies, Tony Saunders gets him 1-2-3 in the first. Glad Joe Angel and Tommy Hutton back here at ProPlayer Stadium. Continues to rain. It's coming down a lot harder now than it was in the top of the first inning, although it looks as though the umpires are going to continue this game without interruption, at least for the moment. And we'll check out the Marlin lineup brought to you by Bell South with Devon White, Edgar Renteria, Gary Sheffield at the top. It's going to be interesting. The middle of the order, Bonilla, Dalton, Alou, and CJ combined against the Cardinals this season, hitting about .343. So we'll check that out. We'll also check out the defense of the St. Louis Cardinals momentarily as Devo digs in and takes a big cut, and he goes right through it. You can see the rain coming down pretty good right now. And I think we're going to go into delay as we speak.
You know, and I don't think it's going to be a very long one, because if you look at the skies, there are just a few patches of cloudiness and a lot of patches of blue. So I think it's just something that's passing and hopefully won't last too long. But I was going to mention that the Marlins certainly have their work cut out for them, not only against Morris, but against the Cardinals, because the Cardinals are one of 4 teams that the Marlins have played under .500 against this year.
Yeah, they've lost 5 out of 8 against St. Louis. And of course, the Cardinals, with that good darting pitching, anytime they take the field, they've got a chance to win. Now, Jim Leland knows these are very important games, and as we mentioned on the pregame, Tommy, these first 2 games extremely important when you take into consideration the fact they got the rookie left-hander pitching on Sunday in a situation where the bullpen might have to be used. You just never know about a situation like that. So these first 2 games of extreme importance.
Yeah, no question about that, because Jim is also very aware that his ball club is going to see some very good starting pitching from St. Louis. Matt Morris, we talked about him. We know what he can do. After Morris, it's Andy Bennis in the Saturday night ball game. And then on Sunday, a very fierce competitor in Todd Stottlemyre. So 3 tough right-handers. And Jim Leland knows that the ball club and the offense will have their work cut out for him. There's a look at Stottlemyre right there.
And see the veteran Willie McGee behind him. Cardinals a ball club that, even though they're 10 games under .500, they consider themselves to be very much in that Central Division race. And Tommy, it just seems to me like the last couple of years, the Astros, they seem to have been able to find a way to lose that division title. And even though they're leading right now, well, you look at history of the ball club, and anything could happen in September, especially with the Cardinal pitching, the starting rotation they do have.
Well, that's what is in the back of the minds of the St. Louis Cardinals, because they've seen over the last couple of years what Houston has done in September. So they're hoping that maybe the same thing happens. And throughout all this, we rarely mention Pittsburgh. They keep winning. They just keep winning. So you never know. The Pittsburgh Pirates. And again, everyone will always tell you it's easier to pick up 8.5 games, let's say, if the Cardinals were in second place, as opposed to have to skip over the Pittsburgh Pirates, then get to Houston. That makes it a little more difficult to do that.
Well, as you can see, we're in a rain delay at ProPlayer Stadium. Some of the fans are staying right where they are. They came prepared. The young'uns and the old ones, they're out here to have a good time. Game 1 against the St. Louis Cardinals. So we will be in a rain delay. For how long, I have no idea, but it continues to fall. So what we will do is send it back to your local studios for some local programming. And of course, what we'll provide for you back at the studios is a segment of sports interviews with Mickey's son, David Mantle. That's coming up next. And here at the ballpark, we will keep you posted as to what's going on. We now send you back to your local studio.
You're watching Sports Channel.
Joe Angel and Tommy Hutton, and hello again, baseball fans. You see this game resuming after a short rain delay as Devon White fouls it away. So the count is no balls and 2 strikes against right-hander Matt Morris, a fine rookie right-hander out there for the St. Louis Cardinals. A 17-minute rain delay on this Friday night. as Devo takes inside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And of course, if you missed it, Tony Saunders, he got the Cardinals 1-2-3 with a couple of strikeouts. He got McGwire looking at first, and Tony Saunders looked good early. Now 2-2 to Devon White. And now 3-2 as he takes a low fastball.
I don't think the rain delay will affect either starting pitcher. Morris throwing 1 pitch to Devo, and Tony Saunders can just look at it as a long inning.
They'll do it again. 3 balls and 2 strikes. And you look at Matt Morris, you're looking at one of the better rookie pitchers in baseball. He's got some real good stuff. And Devo gets a base hit to right field. On a 3-2 pitch, Devon White gets aboard. Now Renteria will come up to hit. First, we'll take a look at tonight's Toyota Gamebook for Matt Morris. Toyota, I love what you do for me.
Well, a couple of fastballs. He moves it around, can get it into the low to mid-90s. He's from Seton Hall. That's where he went to college, and he is a Marlin killer because he won his first Major League game against the Marlins, and this year he's 2-0 against Florida.
I remember well. He's a big guy, too. Morris, 6'5", weighs about 210. He's only 23 years of age. His record, 8 wins, 8 losses, with a good ERA. Been in 25 games so far this year. Making his debut as a starter at ProPlayer Stadium.
Yeah, his record and ERA tell you that the Cardinals haven't scored for him. 2.96 ERA and a .500 record.
Renteria feigning a bunt, but he pulled the bat back, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. Renteria, who has been among the leaders in the National League. In fact, coming into tonight's game, he is 2nd in the league with 13 sacrifice bunts. So he's done a good job in that regard. You talk about Matt Morris. He has lost 2 in a row. Edgar Ponce's 1. Could be double play. There's 1, and that's 2. So there was no bunt, and Renteria bounces into 6-3 double play.
Well, I think Edgar in the back of his mind is, and we've seen him do this a lot, trying to hit the ball the other way. But look where the pitch is. Fastball that runs inside, and he tried to get an inside out swing and ended up hitting it right to Clayton, who was only a few feet from the bag at second.
You're not going to see an easier double play than that. Now with 2 outs, here's Gary Sheffield. Bases empty, no score. We're in the bottom of the first. We mentioned Matt Morris and the great success he has had against Florida. 2 wins and no losses. And in a total of 15 innings, a 1.80 ERA. So he's been tough against the fish. Well, lately Morris has lost 2 straight. His last start against Atlanta, he blew a 3-0 lead. And his start before that against Philadelphia, boy, he really struggled. And there's a good fastball.
Yeah, remember that last start he had against the Marlins was also against Tony Saunders. It was that day that it was well over 100 degrees in St. Louis.
Oh, man. And Sheffield takes a letter high breaking ball for a call strike. Big bender, pretty good one there. 1-2 now to Shep. Well, Gary coming off a home run 2 days ago, hit a 2-run dinger. Fastball, looper, Clayton makes the catch. Ripett jammed him, and well, Matt Morris faces only 3 men. No score, end of 1. Right back here at ProPlayer Stadium, looks like the skies have begun to clear a little bit as we head to the top of inning number 2. Now, we all know that a birthday is a very special day, unless, of course, you've had too many of them. And it deserves more than a bakery cake, so this time give that someone special a Dairy Queen frozen cake. No matter what age, everyone loves a DQ frozen cake. Order now. Call 203-CA-KE.
And you can have your cake and eat it too.
It's a soggy crowd on this Friday night. Here we go. Tony Saunders about to go to work in the top 2nd. It's a 0-0 game, and the middle of the order for Cardinals, Langford, Gant, and Getty to hit for St. Louis. The Cardinals, who I mentioned, a very inconstant ball club offensively. Coming in here tonight, they're 12th in the league in batting average. They're 11th in the league in triples. They're 10th in the league in home runs, so they do not pummel you to death. As Langford takes a call strike. Tony La Russa, born in Tampa in 1944, played 132 games in the major leagues and was very mediocre as a ball player. Langford swings and misses. Had a lifetime batting average of only 199 for Tony La Russa, but he has turned into a pretty good manager.
Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah. Ooh, that fastball just did miss.
He's won 5 Western championships, 3 American League championships, and 1 World Series.
Of course, 3 times La Russa has been the manager of the year. All of that in the American League. Now 2-2 to Langford.
After that delay, the 17-minute delay, and then the bottom half of the first, you hope there is no effect in Tony Sanders because of the way he pitched in the first inning.
Boy, he looked good, didn't he? Got ahead through strikes, couple good changeups, and there's a breaking ball. Langford isn't down on strikes, and Saunders has now struck out 3 consecutive Cardinals. He got Clayton, he got McGwire, and now he gets Langford.
I think this might be the changeup. Just had good movement. Either the changeup or the curve. Could have been curve, but he's throwing both of them with real good consistency, better consistency than we've seen in quite a while.
Indeed, it was definitely off speed, and now we're going to work on Ronnie Gant. Sharply hit, and Renteria cannot get to it. So Gant gets aboard, and now the G-man, Gary Gaetti, will come up to hit. No score. We're in the second.
A little surprised, Joe, when Gant first hit that ball. I looked up, was surprised to see where Edgar was playing. Edgar was about straight away, and Gant is a dead pull hitter. In a few steps, Edgar couldn't get there, but when I initially looked up, he was about straight away with Gant up there hitting.
Well, now he and Counsell at double play depth up the middle. Bonilla backed up at third base, and here's Gary Gaetti. In here with a batting average at 255 for the Cardinals, and he swung late, got a piece of it. You talk about a grizzly veteran. There he is, Gary Gaetti. Broke in with the Minnesota Twins, been with California. He's always had good power. He's always done a good job defensively. And a foul ball off of CJ's mask. So the count to Gaetti is no balls and 2 strikes.
You saw the long look. Gaetti looking down at his third base coach, Rene Latchman, a familiar face here in South Florida.
Always good to see Latch back in South Florida. He's a good guy. And Gant back at first. Tony Saunders trying to even his record at 4-4 and trying to beat someone other than the Atlanta Braves. Still has not done that yet. And there's a high fastball, kind of a show me fastball. 1-2 now to Gaetti. Gaetti had a great moment in his career earlier this season in a game against the Atlanta Braves and Greg Maddux, of all people, when Gaetti came up with his 2000th career hit, and he got a piece of that one. In the entire history of the game, there have been only 50 players to get as many as 2,000 hits and hit at least 300 home runs. Gary Gaetti is among them. In fact, I think there are only 5 active players.
I tell you what, that is something. You think about that. 50 players might sound like a lot until you start thinking all the way back into the 1800s, the number of people that have played Major League Baseball.
Of course, Gary Gaetti is the only man in the history to start 2 triple plays in the same game. 2 5-4-3 triple plays. And Gaetti fouls it away. That was as a member of the Minnesota Twins.
Trying to figure out what happened to Gant on that. It looked like he was going. He either was bluffing or he slipped, because he put the brakes on and he initially started to deal. There's a look, and you can see him, the feet give way. So a little muddy track down there at the first base area.
Boy, it looked like he was going to. He meant it. Gaetti got under this one. There's Devo loping in. No difficulty. Out number 2.
Well, it was a little muddy like that over at Calder, too.
Got his spinning his wheels. Ronnie Kent. Now he's at first with 2 gone, and here's the catcher Pagnazzi in here to hit against left-hander Tony Saunders. Meanwhile, the end of 1, Cincinnati nothing, Atlanta nothing. Later, San Diego will be at the Mets. And of course, the Dodgers, they're in Philadelphia. No score at the end of 1. Right now, the Dodgers are actually the closest to Florida in the wild card race. Broken bat up the middle. Counsell on to first and could get nothing on that throw. That's going to be an infield single for Pagnazzi. Although Counsell did get to it, he tried to make an off-balance throw and had nothing on that throw.
And Pagnazzi doesn't get too many infield base hits, but watch where this ball goes and watch where his bat goes. Off the mound, so that allowed Craig Counsell to get to it. He actually had time to square himself up, which he did, and threw the ball offline. What we've seen in Craig Counsell, we've seen him make some terrific plays, but most of them have been when he goes to his left. When he has to go up the middle, it's a little more difficult play for him.
So with the aid of a broken bat infield single, the Cardinals have a runner in scoring position now with 2 outs. And here's Danny Schaefer, the veteran right-hand hitter, and Saunders misses low inside. Schaefer had a great ball game the other day against Atlanta. Remember that game when Schaefer did a great job defensively, came up with a couple of big hits, and the Cardinals came back and beat Atlanta in a come-from-behind victory.
Yeah, he had that big game-winning hit.
What was that, the 12th inning? Was it not? Here's a pitch. It's slow to Schaefer, and the count 2-0.
He's been very valuable. He can play in the outfield. He can play at third base. So Tony La Russa likes to have a guy like him around.
Now the Cardinals have won 4 of the last 6 despite losing last night. And they picked up a couple of games on Houston so far this week. As the Astros, the way they played lately, they just look like they're intent on keeping the Cardinals and the Pirates in that race. Over the last couple of years, the Astros have won that division when they had a chance to win.
Well, the Astros right now, they've been going through closer problems. Billy Wagner's had trouble. I think it all got started here.
High fastball pounded foul outside third base.
Ever since Wagner gave up that game-winning base hit to Moises Alou, he's had some struggles down with Houston.
I mean, here are the Cardinals. Since the All-Star break, they've gone 17-23. So they're 6 games under 500 since the All-Star break, and yet you can say they're still in the hunt. Right now, 8.5 games off the pace. Little bouncer gets by CJ. That'll be a wild pitch. It was in the dirt, and now the Cardinals have 2 runners into scoring position.
Tony tried to make a perfect pitch to Schaefer because he knew he had the pitcher coming up, but you hate to see him miss that badly because now, even with Morris up there, who has 12 hits, by the way, he's a pretty good hitting pitcher, he has to come into strike zone.
And there's a fastball for a call strike. By the way, no wild pitch. That was ball 4, so take away the wild pitch. That's how the runners advance on the base on balls. Matt Morris digs in again, and he takes it low and inside, even up at 1-1 now. Morris is certainly not an automatic out inside the batter's box. And a little bit low. Well, go back to that broken bat infield single that has gotten Saunders into this difficulty, so he's going to have to find a way to worm his way out.
Well, then the walk got him into more difficulty.
Sharply hit, but over the coaching box at first base.
I think as Tony matures, he's only 23, but I think his thinking right now has to be, and I'm looking back to the at-bat that Schaefer has, go right after him. Don't worry about and think about the fact the pitcher's on deck.
Now 3-2. He walked it. It'll force in a run. Here's Gant coming in to score. And on On the broken bat infield single and a couple of walks, the Cardinals have jumped out to a 1-0 lead here, and Larry Rothschild comes out immediately. That's what has to concern you about Tony Saunders. Against the bottom of the order, walking Schaefer and then walking the pitcher to force in a run.
And really overthrowing that last fastball, not making a good pitch on the 3-2 offering to Morris.
This is a situation where you've got to, if you have to, throw it right down the middle and take your chances. You cannot afford to walk in a run like that. Hey, stay tuned right after the game for the latest sports news all around the globe on CNNSI. Tonight, you can see highlights from Major League Baseball, of course, NFL preseason notes, and much, much more. All after the game on CNNSI, right here on Sports Channel. At the top of the order, Delino DeShields, and he takes ball 1.
I think what happened on that 3-2 pitch to Morris, he knew that he was going to be looking for a fastball, and he knew that he couldn't throw it on the corner. So I think Tony tried to throw it a little too hard, just overthrew it.
One of those situations, Tommy, where even if you have to, hey, just throw him a BP fastball. You got to throw a strike.
Hey, he could hit a line drive right at somebody.
Exactly. 1-1 to DeShields. When this game is 0 for 1 at a ground ball to Counsell, his first time up. And he's too low and outside. Of course, DeShields with some gaudy numbers against Florida pitching this year, hitting .385 against the Marlins with 3 home runs and 8 RBIs. Base runners Pagnazzi, Schaefer, and Morris, third to first. Strike on the inside corner. Even up at 2-2 now. Tony Saunders got that ball. Let's see if he takes advantage of it, because that could have been called the ball. He does take advantage of it, and he got him on a breaking ball to retire this side. But the bases loaded walk has given the Cardinals a 1-0 lead as we head to the bottom of the second. The Cardinals enjoying a 1-0 lead. Let's take a look at the Discount Auto Parts power pitch of the game on the strikeout by Tony Saunders.
Well, I think it was a power change that he picks up this strikeout. Off speed, good arm movement to strike out Delino DeShields with the bases loaded.
Really amazing. You walk the pitcher with the bases loaded, and then you strike out a guy who's hitting almost 400 against your club with the bases loaded. Maybe sometimes, what could it be, Tommy? A little lack of concentration, or?
It's just all the game of baseball.
Now I understand. Well, there's Tony Saunders. He kept himself in the ball game there when he struck out DeShields, and now here come the Marlins. It'll be Bonilla. It'll be Dalton. It'll be Alou against right-hander Matt Morris. Now, we told you that the middle of the order, Bonilla, Dalton, Alou, and then CJ, combined against the Cardinals this season, hitting about .340. So let's see what they do as Bonilla takes a ball. Of course, Bobby has hit safely in 10 consecutive games. Hit to center field. That's Langford. He's got room out there, the Bermuda Triangle. And on the edge of the warning track, he makes the catch. My goodness. That ball carried well out there.
But that ball always seems to find that triangle, which makes it a lot harder to go there because you lose the extra 20 or 30 feet. If that went straight across about 400, you'd have a good shot. We've seen quite a few go into that triangle. There's a look at the defense of the Cardinals. Clayton, we've talked about Royce Clayton, second in the league fielding percentage. He's only made 11 errors this year.
And there's a call strike to Double D Dutch Dalton. Now let's talk about Darren Dalton a little bit since his arrival. That ball is well hit, the right center, way back, backing up. Schaefer backing up. It's on the warning track and will leave the yard. It'll be an automatic double for Darren Dalton. It landed on the rubberized warning track out there. That might have been interesting to see what might have happened, Tommy, if the ball had stayed in play. Remember, Dalton's got 7 triples this year.
Fastball ran out over the middle of the plate, and Darren Dalton just attacked it. But it hit that rubberized track. Once it does that, it's going to bounce into the seats. But a couple of balls, think about it now, the last 2 balls hit very hard. The one by Bobby Bonilla, and that fastball right there by Dutch.
I was going to ask you about Dalton. Since he became a Marlin, his batting average only .205. So he really has not been as productive as I'm sure the Marlins would like to anticipate it.
Well, you know what? He knows it too, and he knows that he has been struggling with his swing, but the last couple of games I've seen some changes, and he's swung the bat a lot better.
Moises Alou in here with tying run in scoring position. Now the Discount Auto Parts. Go with the pros you know. Fact of the day. Moises Alou. His numbers as a left fielder, his numbers as a center fielder. Of course, a lot more games in left than in center. And went right through that breaking ball, and it is 1-2 now to Alou.
I think there's some merit to those numbers. He certainly feels more comfortable in left field, and center field a lot more taxing out there for an outfielder to play the spacious center field.
In his words, I am not a center fielder. But if that's where they need me, that's where I'll be. And there have been games, many games, in which it's been needed in center field. Broken bat. Nicely one-handed there by Rich Donnelly in the middle of the coaching box at third base. And Alou will have to get himself a brand new weapon.
Well, you talk about a moving fastball that Morse just ran in on the hands of Moises Alou to shatter his bat. It's not a strike, but it's close, and he's ready to pull the trigger on a 90-plus fastball, and that ball just rides in on his hands.
So Moises will dig in again. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Cardinals ahead 1-0. We're in the bottom of the second here. Alou, who he's the one guy that you'd like to see hitting in this situation with the runner in scoring position. He's hitting .355 in these situations. And he chased a high one there. And there's Clayton on the infield dirt. That's out number 2.
Which brings up a great point, Joe. There's been so much talk here in the area about shifting the batting order all around and putting Moises Alou number 3. Well, here he is right here hitting number 6 in a key spot in the ball game early on with a chance driving a run. So obviously he's been up there with men in scoring position because of the number of RBIs he has.
He's got 94. He's in the top 7 in the National League. So why mess with it? And as Leland said before the game here tonight, as CJ swings and misses, takes a big cut. Leland said, hey, if Gary Sheffield is going to hit, he's going to hit third. He's going to hit, you put him third or 7th or 4th or 5th or whatever. If he's going to hit, he's going to hit anywhere. And they're hoping that he does hit. Got a home run 2 days ago, so who knows? Maybe it was the start of something big for Gary Sheffield. Tying run, second base with 2 outs. CJ trying to go the other way, and he lines it foul. The other thing too, Tommy, Leland said, hey, if he were to make a lineup shift and say bat Gary Sheffield about number 7.
This was the best part of what he had to say.
It would be a major distraction. All of a sudden, it would be the biggest thing on the ball club. And Gary Sheffield this year has not been the biggest thing on this ball club. There's a ball, a foul ball just outside the bag at third. CJ just inches from tying the baby up.
What a nice at bat. Stung the fastball down the right field line and then turned on one that was inside. Just barely foul.
So CJ with 2 outs, runner at second base. Cardinals with a 1-0 lead. CJ with 16 home runs, a career high. And the breaking ball, he struck him out. Pretty good pitch. No runs, a double. They leave him. And here at Pro Player, end of 2, 1-0 St. Louis. Marlin Baseball and Sports Channel is being brought to you in part by Bell South Mobility. Sign up for unlimited night and weekend calling for just an additional $5 a month on any value plan. Bell South Mobility, count on it. And by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. You don't have to live thirsty. Life is a sport. Hey, drink it up. And by AutoNation USA. With up to 1,000 remarkably low-priced pre-owned cars. AutoNation USA, the better way to buy a car. Now the youngster doing the mambo here at ProPlayer Stadium on this Friday night. Cardinals with a 1-0 lead. It'll be Clayton. It'll be McGwire. It'll be Langford. In here will be left-handed Tony Saunders.
Well, to show you the difference how Tony had to work in the first inning, he threw 14 pitches, had to go with 31 in the last inning.
Well, they gave up 2 hits. One of them a broken bat infield single, but then a couple walks. And one of those came with the bases loaded, and that's why the Cardinals right now enjoying a 1-0 lead. Here's Clayton. And got a piece of it. Strike 1.
Got a piece of CJ's mitt, too.
Charles Johnson, what a defensive season he's had. He has yet to make an error. He has yet to be charged with a pass ball. And has played, what, about 95 games.
Well, it's pretty amazing. His last error was June 23rd, 1996.
Yep. Tonight playing in his 96th game as Clayton takes up errors. Or CJ now holds the record in the National League for most consecutive games without an error by a catcher. 144 games in a row. There's some high heat. Now the Major League record, by the way, if you're wondering, and I know you are, 159 consecutive games held by Rick Rohn, and he did it over 2 years and with 2 different teams. Sharply hit, and Renteria cannot fly down. So Clayton gets aboard, racing into second base, and the throw in too late. Oh, that'll give you an idea of how hard that ball was hit.
You talk about a ball that is stung hard. High fastball, just smokes it past Edgar Renteria, but so hard that the ball almost gets all the way through to the left center field gap. Devon White's able to get over there with his speed, but Clayton picks up the double. Look how sharply that ball gets by Edgar.
Now Saunders will go to work on Mark McGwire, who takes a fastball up and away for ball 1. Now McGwire, with 5 home runs as a Cardinal, and with 10 RBIs, all of the home runs came on that one homestand when McGwire made his Busch Stadium debut. Remember, he had started his St. Louis career on the road and struggled miserably on that road trip. But once he came home, boy, did he turn it on. And the fans got turned on in St. Louis. They come out early to watch him take BP now. And the word is the Cardinals are going to do whatever they can to sign him for next season. Remember, he becomes a free agent at the end of the year, and he missed a changeup there.
Just to show you how the defense plays, Mark McGwire, even Rene Latch, the third base coach, look where Latch is. He's not taking any chances.
Hey, that may not be far away enough. Uh-oh. 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 Oh, my. Left center into the upper deck. Mark McGwire has struck in South Florida. My goodness, what a blast. Wow. No wonder they love him in St. Louis. And look at this, McGwire is getting a standing ovation in South Florida.
Wow. That is in Andres Galarraga territory. He got a low fastball, full extension. That is also, Joe, number 40 for McGwire on the year.
Well, he was second only to Ken Griffey coming into the game here tonight. No doubt about it. Even Don Shula admired that one as Don Shula looked up from the facade of that upper deck up there in the Miami Dolphin Wall of Fame out there. He hit the ball right over Don Shula. That was a home run hitter's home run.
Well, this is a good call right now for Larry Rothschild to go out there, because you know the crowd is still buzzing, so you have to have the feeling that Tony Saunders, he's still thinking about that blast that McGwire just hit off of him for his career number 369, McGwire. And it is worth another look.
Ouch. Yeah, he's talking to it.
Yeah, he wants to see how far it gets in that upper deck.
Tony Saunders almost got whiplash looking at the ball. Now the 2-0 delivery to Langford is going outside for ball 3, 3-0. Mark McGwire, in the entire history of the game, only Babe Ruth has hit home runs more frequently than McGwire. Here's the automatic. Babe Ruth, over his career, averaged a home run just over 11 at-bats or so, just over 11 at-bats. McGwire just over 12 at-bats. And now Langford gets a base on balls. Walk number 3 issued by Saunders. And the right-hander Antonio Alfonseca has begun to warm up in the Marlin pen. Saunders will work on Ronnie Gant. Jim Leland hoping his rookie left-hander can settle down here. Now he's behind Gant.
Tried to get him to chase that first pitch changeup, and Gant wasn't biting.
Now 1-1 to Ronnie Gant. Boy, the crowd's still buzzing about that McGwire home run here. You can almost feel it in the stands out here.
You know, he had those 2 years, McGwire did, 93, 94, where he didn't play very much. He had heel surgery, had heel problems, had back problems. And combined in those 2 years, he only played in a little over 70 games. But he's come back healthy since then.
Let's see, now the one by Galarraga was what, officially at the end was 523?
Yeah, it was a few rows higher. It went up a little bit more.
McGwire's about 480, maybe 490, I would imagine. We have not gotten an official distance. But as soon as we do, we'll give it to you. I just hope they get it right. Remember Galarraga's home run at first, they told us it was about 580. And it was trending
everybody
down.
believed that, too.
Oh, absolutely. It looked like 580. Into shallow center. There's Devon White. And that's out number 1.
Third base, number 8.
There's Tony Saunders. He had a very good first inning with a couple of strikeouts. He got him 1, 2, 3, but he has really struggled since. A lot of pitches. Now Gaetti's 0 for 1. He put the center. Meanwhile, Cincinnati has taken a 1-0 lead over Atlanta. By the way, we've got the distance on the McGwire home run, 500 feet. Now we said about 490. 500 feet is the official distance of the McGwire moonshot. Wow. That ball went straight up, and it went a long way. One and one to the G-man, Gary Gaetti, Cardinal third baseman.
Well, the Cardinal fans, you mentioned how they've certainly taken to McGwire, and I think that's one of the reasons the St. Louis organization hopes that continues, because then they feel they have a better chance to sign him as a free agent. If he likes the city, likes the area, and if he adjusts and likes the National League.
Well, with McGwire, all those friendly dimensions in ballparks in the American League really don't come into play, because when he hits them,
it doesn't matter.
Alive. He is too much. He loves St. Louis, so he thinks it's a phenomenal baseball town. He loves the fans. He loves the ballpark. He said his first game in St. Louis, after he had struggled on the road as a Cardinal, he got a standing ovation on his first at-bat, and he could not leave it. I mean, it was an extended standing ovation. It just made him feel very warm. So he likes it in St. Louis. He still feels about playing in Southern California time to be near his family down there. And all the talk about him going to Anaheim.
Well, he has a son, and his son lives with his ex-wife in Southern California.
Right.
So he has said that he'd like to be near him, but you know, you have to also factor in the other clubs that'll show interest. And if the California Angels or the San Diego Padres would be another choice, if they could afford or would want McGwire.
Well, now 3-2 to Gary Gaetti, and we'll keep an eye on Langford over at first base. 2 runs in. Cardinals ahead 3-0. We are in the third. And another base on ball. And now Saunders will go to work on Pagnazzi, or will he? No, he will not.
Yeah, I think Jim Leland over there. And this goes back more than just this start here tonight.
Yeah.
He has just gotten himself a little frustrated watching Tony Saunders not get in the strike zone. And you look back to the long end, the rain delay may have affected Tony. Shouldn't have, because it wasn't that long, because he did have a good 1-2-3 first inning, and then the long blast by McGwire.
But all those bases on balls, he has walked now 4 men in his last 47 innings. It's astounding. Alfonseca will come into pitch here third with the Cardinals ahead 3-0. We'll call the bullpen with Bell South. That is Alfonseca now to go work on the catcher Tom Pagnazzi in the third with a couple of men on base. The Cardinals enjoying a 3-0 lead. Pagnazzi, who had a broken bat infield single his last time up, so he's 1 for 1. Alfonseca to the plate and delivers a call strike. Antonio Alfonseca. 6-fingered Antonio. Say that because he does have 6 fingers in his right hand. He also has 6 toes. But he does say that the 6th finger that he has in his right hand, Tommy, is of no aid in his pitching.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were trying to make more of that and saying that it allowed him to throw a different type pitch, but not the case.
But if you ever wanted to become a pickpocket, the count 0-2 to Pagnazzi.
Well, if he has a good inning right here, he can go in the dugout and give everybody a high 6.
He got him.
He's on his way. And that's what he does best. Fastballs and sliders. Stayed with the slider right there to strike Pagnazzi, and got the sliders in great locations. Down away. No chance for Pagnazzi.
Hey, you want to see a moonshot? Take a look at this moonshot. McGwire.
This is a great angle right here. Into the night.
The 5th dimension. Up, up, and away. 500 feet into the upper deck. Into right center. Devo coming on. And he had the flop on the ball. It'll drive in a run. There's Langford coming in to score. And the Cardinals ahead now 4-0 on a 2-out single by Danny Schaefer. If he had hit the ball a little bit harder, Tommy, Devo would have caught it.
It's also one of those balls, too, I think, that had he hit with 1 out, Langford wouldn't have scored because he would have had to hold to make sure the ball didn't carry to Devon White. But with 2 down, Langford run all the way, able to score from second.
Here's the pitcher, Matt Morris, in here to hit with runners on first and second. That run is charged to Tony Saunders. So he has now given up 4 runs as Morse fouls it away. Again, Cincinnati 1-0 over Atlanta in the second in Atlanta. Dodgers and the Phillies no score now in the 4th inning in Philadelphia as Morris takes a strike on the outside edge.
I guess the mystery with Tony Saunders is the fact that last year in the minor leagues in Portland, in 167 innings, he walked 62. So very good control. He's had very good control earlier in the year.
He did, yes. Now 1-2 to Morris. Could it be that because he's a soft tosser, he's a finesse guy, he's a changeup pitcher, off-speed pitcher?
He hasn't had control of his fastball either.
Could be sometimes maybe afraid to throw strikes. Well, Alfonseca isn't. A couple of strikeouts, but he does give up the RBI single with 2 outs. As we head to the bottom of the third, 4-0 Cardinals. It'll be the bottom of the order here for Marlins against the right-hander Matt Morris, with the Cardinals ahead 4-0 as we head to the bottom of the third now. And hey, a back-to-school weekend when the Marlins take on the Cardinals again tomorrow at 7 o'clock. All kids 12 and under will receive a Marlin backpack, all courtesy of Coca-Cola. So you call Ticketmaster 305-350-5050. Well, they're hoping for a comeback here tonight as Counsell will lead off against Morris. Counsell, then we'll see what Jim Leland does with the pitching spot. And then the top of the order. Right now, Fonseca is in the on-deck circle, so he'll get a chance to hit. I think it's too early to go to the bullpen again, Tommy.
Yeah, it is. That's one thing that Jim Leland wants to stay away from, dipping into that bullpen and bringing everybody out there early. So Alfonseca will go ahead and hit.
Of course, now the ideal situation is to have Counsell get aboard so Alfonseca can lay down the bunt and get something out of the at-bat. Well, it's a good idea to get on the board. And Counsell fouls it just outside third base, and I think he broke his bat.
So the Marlins have a tough task, too, because in the 2 games that Morris has pitched back in May, 7 1/3 innings, he allowed just 2 runs. And his last outing in July allowed just 1 run in 7 2/3 innings.
Great Counsell, batting average of .351 as he digs in here with a count of no balls and 2 strikes. Counsell with no home runs and a couple of RBIs so far in his Marlin career. But his last 11 games, Counsell has hit .424. Talking about getting on base. Well, he's done that. And a breaking ball right to Clayton. Out number 1. And now here's Alfonseca to swing a bat.
You can see Antonio's approach. Don't get cheated. Fastball, he let it rip.
Well, the last time we saw him swing a bat, he swung and missed at the first 2 pitches, and then he hit the ball to center field. Hit the ball pretty well too.
Well, that's why Morris dropped off that curveball right there.
And we had Alfonseca waving at it, and there's that same breaking ball in the dirt, and Antonio. Ay, caramba. We'll bring up Devon White. Hey, fans, Mazda is giving away a brand new Mazda truck. And all you have to do is stop by your participating South Florida Mazda dealer and test drive a brand new Mazda truck. And ask your representative there for your automatic entry into the new truck giveaway. Then on August 30th at Fort Lauderdale's Beach Place, they'll be giving away that brand new Mazda truck. So stop by your Mazda dealer today and register to win. Devon White takes a fastball strike on the inside corner. He's not real happy with the call. Devo 1 for 1, a single, later doubled up in first. Breaking ball, nudged it foul. You see the Cardinals ahead 4-0 in the third here, bottom half. Marlins are at 21 games over 500 for the first time in franchise history. Count stays at 0-2. 36 times this season, the Marlins have come behind to win. If they win tonight, make 37.
We've been talking about the Cardinals, how they've been tough. The other 3 teams that the Marlins are under 500 against are the Mets, the Giants, and the Rockies.
Devo lays off the breaking ball, going up to 2-2 now. him out. And he gets him 1-2-3. Matt Morris with his third strikeout. Dave O'Brien comes along next. I'll see you in the seventh. Right now, 4-0 St. Louis.
The Cardinals ahead 4-0 over the Marlins. Top half of the fourth inning coming up. And Fan Sports Channel Florida and the Marlins say hello to viewers watching us tonight on Media One in Jacksonville and Dade, Broward, Lee, and Collier counties. Thank you, Media One, for your support of Sports Channel Florida. Delino to Shields will lead things off. Dave O'Brien, Tommy Hutton from ProPlayer. Where Antonio Alphonse is pitching into his second inning of relief. On for Tony Saunders. Tommy, another fast night for Tony changeup. Just 2 1/3. Last 2 starts combined, 5 1/3 innings, 8 earned runs, and 9 bases on balls. The back-back, very brief outings as Delino gets into one, fly ball to right center. Devon White will make the catch. 1 down. Well, coming up in this inning, we're going to see Mark McGwire again. After that 500-foot, estimated 500-foot home run. Have we seen enough of them already?
Yeah, I think we have, but I don't think the fans have. Yeah, you talked about Tony Saunders, and the control just left him again. It's too bad because he got off to a great start, had a nice first inning, a 1-2-3 inning.
Yeah, and the strikeouts are mounting up for him. He had 4 strikeouts while he was in the Marlins have to be a little bit concerned about him as Clayton takes a strike. Roy Clayton with a strikeout and a double. Tony had been saying that he didn't feel like he was pitching well since the All-Star break, although Larry Rothschild disagreed with that the other day. But I think Saunders cannot be pleased, and neither can Larry Rothschild. Certainly Jim Leyland was not with his performance tonight. He walked the pitcher with the bases loaded.
And I know for the most part, and in watching Jim Leyland and in talking to him,
in there for strike 3. Clayton retired. 2 down.
He's been very patient with Tony Saunders because he knows that he's been able to get out of certain jams that he's put himself into.
Now here comes Mark McGwire. We go back to his last at bat. The Discover card payback, playback, and take a look at this Titanic shot.
Talk about extension on a pitch down and in. Complete extension into that upper deck. About 6 or 8 rows, 500 feet.
His 6th home run in the National League and his 40th of the year, which is tied for the most home runs in baseball, along with Tino Martinez and Ken Griffey Jr.
You know, just to put that in perspective, in 1961, on this date, August 22, Roger Maris hit his 50th.
Well, you know, if not for a homerless drought of 71 at-bats for McGwire from July into early August, he might be flirting with that right now, because you look at how many at-bats it usually takes him to hit a home run. It's 1 every 12.2 at-bats. Second to Babe Ruth's record of 1 every 11.8. That's all-time Major League history. Here's ball 4 on McGwire, and he will reach here on the free pass. You figure if not for that long homerless drought, he might be right there with Roger Maris. The man on for Ray Lankford, who has struck out and walked tonight. Time now for the Power Sticks. They're brought to you by Gatorade Thirst Quencher, slugging percentage. And here's Ray Lankford at 625 behind Larry Walker. Piazza, Bagwell, Galarraga. It says Lankford there, but it's Lankford.
And we know that.
Yeah, he hasn't changed it since last year.
He may be saying to himself, how can I bat cleanup behind Mark McGwire, the number 3 hitter? But you saw the slugging percentage. Had a terrific year. Didn't get started at the beginning of the year, coming off a shoulder surgery.
And he's gone on to hit 25 homers, despite not having a full season, and he's driven in 82.
And just to let you know, not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, in one game, he had a couple of upper deck shots in Cincinnati at Synergy Field.
That was back on July the 15th. 2 into the up deck that had never been done before by a player in the same game in Cincinnati. Count has gone to 3-0. The fans getting restless. They want us Marlin pitchers throwing the ball over the plate. The Marlins have walked 5 Cardinals in 3 2/3 innings. There's another one. Lankford on a base on balls for the second time. Back-to-back walks. of the 3 and 4 hitters, and Jim Leyland can't believe what he's seeing.
Well, it is an area where the Marlins are last in the league in walking hitters, and it's an area that just continues to put you in trouble. There's nothing good about a walk. It puts men on base. It gets the defense behind you, gets them back on their heels. It's just tough when a pitcher goes out there and can't find the strike zone.
Ronnie Gant to bat now. 2 men on. The Cardinals have had men on all night, with the exception of the first inning. Gant with a bounder to the middle, and Torria will get the force play for the final out. So in the end, the walk's not hurt, at least not this time out. We've completed 3.5, and it's 4-0 St. Louis. 4-0 St. Louis, and fans, back to school weekend ends when the Marlins take on the Cardinals Sunday the 24th at 4:35. All kids 12 and under receive a Marlins pencil kit. That's courtesy of Coca-Cola. Call Ticketmaster 305-350-5050. All right, Edgar Renteria will try and begin the Marlin comeback as the Marlins are down 4-0. Edgar hit into a double play in the first. So he's hitting .268, 3 homers, 42 RBIs. Broken back ground ball to short. Morris has claimed at least 2 or 3 Marlin bats in this game. 1 man out. He's throwing hard. That pitch 95, and just about all the hard stuff, Tommy, between 93 and 95 miles an hour.
Yeah, and not only throwing hard, Dave, but great movement. He's run a couple of fastballs in on hitters. I remember the one Moises Alou fouled off and just shattered his bat. That one there broke the bat of Edgar Renteria.
6 in a row retired by that young man. Morris with the number 10 earned run average in the league at 2.96. So it is going to be uphill as Sheffield bats and takes strike 1. Gary lined out weakly to the shortstop this first time.
So he can run that 95-mile-an-hour fastball in on you and then drop that curveball off like he did on that last pitch.
There's another one hammered foul. 0-2.
The other thing that's impressive about Matt Morris, 23 years old, and in his over 160 innings now, he's just walked 52. No walks tonight.
Sheffield hits a foul ball to the left side. Harry 4 for 21 on the homestand, so he's hitting under 200 on it. And the Marlin 1, 2, and 3 hitters in the lineup tonight. Devon White, Edgar Renteria, and Gary Sheffield are hitting a collective 186 on the homestand. Gary broke that bat. There's a little flare to right. Sheffield will watch it fall in. And so Gary Sheffield, although it appeared he broke the bat, got it to drop into right field for a single. It is the 3rd hit of the game for Florida against Matt Morris.
Oh, yeah, he did more than just break it. He shattered it. But hit it bad enough. Schaefer had no chance. Again, the fastball moves inside. That's one that you hit bad enough that it drops for base hit.
Here's Bobby Bonilla now. Bobby is 0 for 1 with a fly deep to center out in the Bermuda Triangle. Although maybe, given the home runs we've seen this season by Galarraga and now by Mark McGwire tonight, we have to think about what deep means in a whole new way.
It takes on a new meaning, doesn't it?
It really does. When you're talking about 500-plus foot shots by those two. The count is 2-0 on Mia. Sheffield at first, 1 down, 4-zip. The Cardinals ahead.
It's amazing to see Gary Sheffield standing next to Mark McGwire. You know, Gary Sheffield's a big man. Mark McGwire, 6'5", 245.
The 2-0. A called strike. Bobby hitting right at .313. He's got a 10-game hitting streak. And on the homestand, he's hit in every game with 2 homers and 8 RBIs. The one I really want to see is Bobby Bonilla standing next to Mark McGwire, and if Morris misses here, we'll get a chance.
And, you know, that would be a wonderful tag team right there.
The Twin Towers. That's ball 4. He did walk him.
And we're going to get that chance.
Size up these two as the Marlins have put runners at first and second with one down. And the not so tiny Darren Dalton coming up. Dutch raked a double off the warning track in right center in the second inning. Now we mentioned how well Morris has been pitching. And the fact that he has a 2.96 earned run average and the walks are way down and the stuff is outstanding. Swing drive in the left center. That's a gapper. Headed for the fence. It is touching down, and that'll drive it at least one. Sheffield scores. Here comes Bonilla. Bobby coming home. He scores. Dutch Dalton with another double. And Marlins get two. It's a 4-2 St. Louis lead. Two RBIs for Dutch. Give him 51 for the year.
And each time coming on a first pitch fastball, this time Morris tries to run it away. He's saying to himself, I'll keep him from pulling this ball. Dalton stays right with it and just smokes it into the gap. Great power. Now he came into the game hitting .357 with a home run against the Cardinals this year. So Dutch Dalton has hit St. Louis very well.
Textbook slide there by Bonilla. And Dalton in the scoring position. Only one out, and here's Moises, who has been the top RBI man for the club and the number 7 RBI man in the league. And there's a little fly ball down to the left field line. Gant will get under and make the catch. Moises just got under it on a pitch that came inside and flies to left on the first pitch. 2 down.
Well, I tell you what, Moises was ready for that running fastball that Morris already has jammed him with tonight. Just couldn't get his hands to it quick enough and got jammed again. Let's see if Morris gets it in where he wants to. Didn't quite get it in far enough. Moises is going to think about that pitch. He had a pretty good one right there to take a little deeper. It's got jammed, though.
You're right. We've seen Moises crush that pitch many times this season, and we've seen the same from Charles Johnson this year. Breaking ball outside. Pagnazzi knocks it down for ball 1.
Remember the last time CJ hit, he hit a couple of fastballs real well. One foul down the left field line, one foul down the right field line. It was big curveball that gave him trouble from Morris. That's what started him with.
CJ struck out the first time. Dalton at second. There's the curve. CJ again can't quite locate it. They count 1-1. Charles with 4-game hitting streak, but of course he's been streaking since the All-Star game with 10 home runs in the second half. 2 balls, 1 strike. One note about Morris that I meant to get to a second ago. As well as he has been pitching, he's only won 2 out of his last 9 starts. He's had a lot of no decisions. 2-2. His last time out, 5-3 to the Braves. He gave up 5 runs, 4 of them earned in that one. And the start previous to that, he also gave up 5 runs. Big slow bender inside. 3-2.
Well, he made a perfect pitch. There's Felix Heredia warming up. Perfect pitch with that fastball that would have called strike. CJ, if that ball had a little more of the plate, would have pulled the trigger on it.
Dalton edges away from second. The pitch into the dirt, ball 4. So he's walked 2 men in this inning, his first 2 in the game, to help spark the Marlins, and runners are on at first and second for Craig Counsell, the left-handed batter.
That's a great note on Morris, Dave, and it gives you encouragement if you're a player, because you say, just get close to this guy. We can get him out of there, maybe get into the Cardinal bullpen.
Yeah, if you just look at his numbers and say, hey, a guy with a 2.96 earned run average, we can't beat him, you got to look a little bit deeper to the last 2 starts. Not many times has he been roughed up like that, but you can reach him. Strike 1 to Craig Counsell, who grounded out to short in 3rd inning. Craig's batting average still a very healthy .345. And over the last 11 games, he's hitting .424. Ball and 1 strike on the youngster.
Well, you can see how Morris likes work. We've seen him run his fastball into right-handed hitters, and his first 2 fastballs there to the left-handed hitting Craig Counsell inside.
Almost hit him, knocked him down. Nice save by Pagnazzi. If Pagnazzi doesn't get that, you get 2 men in scoring position.
Well, that's why the Cardinals are glad that Pagnazzi is back. He's had a hip flexor problem all year. He's missed 93 games, but he is a Gold Glove catcher in his own right, and they're glad to have him back in the lineup.
Well, he will not win another one as long as the guy at first base for the Florida Marlins, base runner Charles Johnson, continues to play in the National League. C.J. getting his lead. Dalton out at second base. The Marlins with 2 runs in. They're back in the game, and the pitch sucked down the left field line, but foul into the bullpen. That ball is very hard and sliced by Craig Counsell. 2-2.
Got that fastball up just a little bit.
So he came with the heat. He'll run everything inside on the left-handed hitter, and his breaking ball to the left-hand batter is also going to come in. In fact, Morris almost hit Counsell with a curveball around his feet. That's what he pitches here at 2-2. It was a breaking ball in. 3-2.
This is a good advantage now for the Fish, because with 2 down on a 3-2 count, that Dalton will be on the move, and Charles Johnson will be on the move from first base.
Now, Alfonseca is in the on-deck area, but the Marlins have a lefty in Heredia warming in the bullpen. Here's payoff pitch. Base hit. Here comes Dalton. C.J. tripped around second. He's going to roll back into the base, but a run in, and it's now 4-3 as Dalton scores. Counsell picks up his 3rd Major League RBI. He winds up having a terrific at bat, and the Marlins have drawn to within 1. Alfonseca has come to the batting area. Let's see if he hits.
Another fastball that was up and out over the plate, and you're right, a great at bat by Craig Counsell right there to sting that ball past McGwire and score Dalton from second. You mentioned C.J. when he rounded second base right there, lost his footing just before he touched the bag. At best, he would have gotten the 3rd, so really not too much harm. Just to see C.J. get up is good news.
Yeah, you're darn right about that. And by the way, I thought he got clipped at the 30-yard line. You can still see some of the vestiges of last night's Dolphin game. Well, Duncan is out there talking with his pitcher, who has surrendered a number of shots in this inning. He's allowed 3 hits. He's walked 2 now. Antonio Alfonseca is going to bat with 2 men out.
Well, an interesting move by Jim Lillen, and the move, what it tells me is that he just doesn't want to dip into that bullpen this early again, and wants to get some more innings out of Alfonseca.
But runners at first and second, 2 down, and seemingly they've got Morris on the run. So it's a fascinating decision by Leland. As Alfonseca wraps a foul, Antonio struck out in the 3rd inning, so he's 0 for 1.
The other thing you have to think about, I'm just trying to give you options. I'm not saying I agree with the move. I want to give you options, though. Jim Eisenreich could be the guy he'd probably use. You wouldn't use John Cangelosi, I don't think, here.
0-2.
He's looking ahead because he knows if it's a close ball game, he's going to have Dennis Eckersley in the game. He doesn't want to use Eisenreich here in the 4th inning. So he wants to keep him for later in the ball game.
Another foul ball by Alfonseca, who is the 8th hitter in this inning. Devon White is on deck.
And the other choices would be right-hand hitters. Greg Zahn, you don't want to use your other catcher so soon. And your other choices are right-handed hitters. There's some lefties in that bullpen for the Cardinals. You want to get that matchup if you can.
Strike 3. Alfonseca whips, and that's the end of the rally. The Marlins lead 2, but they do get 3. It's a 1-run game. We take it to the 5th.
Florida Marlins baseball on Sports Channel is being brought to you in part by Bell South. Nobody knows a neighbor like a neighbor. By Aflac, insuring over 40 million people worldwide. And by Toyota's quality line of cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do me.
Well, 35 times this season, the Florida Marlins have come back to win games. 35 comeback victories. They didn't come back all the way there, but they come to within one. So it's a ball game again. The Marlins had Matt Morris up against it there. Al Fonseca, who was allowed to bat for himself with runners at first and second in the tying run in scoring position, struck out. Marlins down 4-3. Gary Gaetti, the batter, fouling off, and it's 1-1. And Tommy, we mentioned that Al Fonseca was left in to hit for himself. Marlins seemed to have Matt Morris on the run. You gave a couple of options and reasons why Jim Leyland decided to do what he elected to do. And Jim Leyland does not shy away from controversy. And certainly I think your point about Eisenreich is a good one. Now, there were right-hand batters available out there on his bench that he could have brought in, several options. And you mentioned in between breaks that Marlins have a pretty good starting pitcher who's likely to give you a lot of innings tomorrow.
Yeah.
You're not going to need the bullpen perhaps tomorrow. And we're just coming off an off day. Gaetti with a fly ball to straightaway center field. Into the glove of Devon White. And there are 2 down. Let's go inside the numbers now. Brought to you by Nations Bank. The close calls. The Cardinals with 24 one-run losses to lead the league. The Marlins have 27 one-run victories to lead the majors.
I like that. Well, there are just so many things to it's a second-guesser's delight.
Yeah.
That move there, because you can say with the off day yesterday, with Kevin Brown going tomorrow, why worry about the bullpen? Why not go into that bullpen? On the other hand, do you want to put Felix Heredia out there, who has really struggled? You've got Antonio Alfonseca, who's pitched well. Let me give you another one, though. But Alfonseca the other night when he worked, after an inning or two, he worked well. Then he struggled in his latter innings and gave up a couple of runs.
Yeah, I'm sure part of Jimmy's thinking, too, is, all right, say I bring up a pinch hitter. Say I burn Eisenreich this early, and he makes an out. Well, I've taken away my top lefty pinch hitter very early in the game, and I've also spent another reliever. I've got to have a young pitcher in Heredia come into the ball game in a tight spot where he has not pitched well lately. Incidentally, the Atlanta Braves have just taken a 2-1 lead in their game against Cincinnati, and a 2-run homer by Fred McGriff. Pagliazzi going after a low one, strikes out. So he has whiffed twice in the contest. 2 down here in the 5th inning.
Well, 4th strikeout for Antonio, so he's dealing. Good sinking fastball right there to get Pagliazzi.
Fans, you can join the Marlins Al Leiter for a live chat session on Sunday, August 24th at 2 o'clock on the Marlins official website, www.flamarlins.com. And Sunday, August 24th at 2 p.m. Danny Schaefer taking him outside for ball 1.
You mentioned about, and we both did, about holding back Eisenreich. I know Jim felt really good about that situation not too long ago. He said it killed him not to use Eisenreich earlier in the game, and as it turned out, he got a big base hit in the last inning.
Popped up right side. Dalton charging in. CJ sees it late, but Dalton will make the catch. And Al Fonseca certainly makes his manager look very good there by getting a quick 1-2-3 inning of the Cardinals in the 5th. We go to the bottom of the 5th. 4-3, the Cardinals. Now it's time for the Bell South prize dial, and earlier we spun the dial for Tanya Sturgeon from Fort Lauderdale, who sent us her Bell South prize dial postcard. Fans, don't forget to pick up yours at participating Bell South Mobility locations. And today's prize is a caller ID box from Bell South. Congratulations, Tanya Sturgeon. Your score here is 4-3 St. Louis. Last half of the 5th inning. Dave O'Brien, Tommy Hutton with you. And the Cardinals, they bring up a new catcher in Mike DeFelice. So Pagliazzi has been removed as the catcher.
Well, we mentioned that he has struggled all year with a hip flexor problem. And that would lead me to believe that's the only reason an injury that would get him out of the game right now.
Well, I'll tell you what, I did see him slide very hard in the 2nd inning into second base and took a bit of a tumble there, so we'll see if that was the cause of it. 2-0 the count on Devon White, who has singled and struck out. Edgar Renteria is on deck, and then Gary Sheffield. High top. The pitcher waits on it, fields from the mound, and throws him out. So Devo 1-3. The Marlins, by the way, have lefty Dennis Cook now warming in the bullpen for the first time.
Shortstop, Edgar Renteria.
Notice Dennis rubbing up that ball. He's able to do it down to the bullpen with those seams. Now he's on the mound.
Not in the game, though. Let's check out some other scores around the league, brought to you by your South Florida Chevrolet dealers. The Dodgers and Phillies in a 1-1 tie. San Diego leads the Mets 3-1. Tony Gwynn with an RBI in that game. Shot right to Clayton, who throws out probably his main competitor for the National League Gold Glove at shortstop this year.
Yeah, and Edgar's giving him every opportunity to catch him in assists, because that's the third ground ball he's hit to short.
Clayton has only made 11 errors this year. He's had a tremendous defensive season. He is second among National League shortstops in fielding percentage.
And certainly you have to think about the youngster in New York with the Mets, because he makes spectacular plays.
Yeah, and he makes them in New York.
And he makes them in New York, but he has been injured a little bit and hasn't played as many games as Edgar or Clayton.
That's inside, ball one. And let's also be honest, it is as much at times a defensive award as it is an offensive award, the Gold Glove. And right now, both of them having fine offensive seasons. Renteria hitting almost 270. Clayton with 8 homers and 46 RBIs. The RBIs between the two almost even.
That's right, and Ray Ordonez in New York not in that category with the offensive numbers.
And the Mets do not ask as much offensively from Ordonez, not near as much as the Marlins do of Renteria, and the Cardinals Royce Clayton. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Sheffield. Gary is 1 for 2 with a base hit. The average at 241. The single he had off of Morris in the 4th inning. First he's had in 8 career at-bats against Morris. The 1-2. High bounded to third. Gaetti, a former Gold Glover, throws him out. And the Marlins are retired in order. We've wrapped up 5 innings. And your score is the St. Louis Cardinals 4, the Marlins 3. The Cardinals ahead here 4-3. Fans, more than 300 South Florida kids enjoy Major League Baseball at ProPlayer for every Marlin home game. It's the Ballpark Buddies Corporate Partners for Youth program. Today, Jeff Conine is hosting kids from the Family Resource Center. That's courtesy of the Ballpark Buddies Corporate Partners for Youth. The Marlins have their 3rd pitcher of the ball game on the hill in the left-hander Dennis Cook. He's going to face the pitcher Morris and then the 1 and 2 hitters.
Well, another way to look at the move that Jim Leland made or did not make, however you want to look at it. In the 5th inning, Alfonseca worked to 3 right-handers. Gaetti, Pagnozzi, and Schaefer was able to retire all 3. Now it's gone to the bullpen with Dennis Cook. He's got the pitcher, then the left-hander DeShields, the next hitter.
Morris in this game has walked with the bases filled, and that drove in a run. That was courtesy of Tony Saunders, and then he struck out in the 3rd. All the runs in the game against the Marlin pitching staff have been charged so far to Tony Saunders. And strike 1 on the outside corner.
I think the 3-run inning for the Marlins got the buzz away from the crowd after that 500-foot blast of McGwire's.
But, you know, no matter how it turns out tonight, that will be the moment they all remember. And they'll be talking about tomorrow. Mark McGwire in his very first appearance inside this stadium, and in just his 2nd at bat here, hitting ball into the upper deck for a 2-run homer. And it's the 2nd longest home run ever hit in the stadium. Strike be called. A piece of quick work there by Dennis Cook to strike out Matt Morris. 1 away in the 6th.
Great way to come in and start an inning. It's nice when you can start it against the opposing pitcher, but Dennis came in and made some good pitches to Morris. That helps.
The batter Delino to Shields, he is 0 for 3. And the way he's hit against the Marlins this season, that's a surprise. He's hit 3 homers against Florida. He's hit 11 out of the leadoff spot, 3 of them against the Fish.
He has 11 home runs and 11 triples.
and leads the majors in triples. Trying to bunt his way on, and that's a beauty. That's going to be trouble. It's a hit. He just bunted for his 9th hit of the season. He leads their club in all the speed categories: stolen bases, triples, infield hits, runs scored, and 9 bunt hits.
There really is no defense against this bunt right here. The only defense is if somehow it can be caught by the pitcher. No chance for Dennis Cook. Once it drops in that no man's land out there, nobody's at first base, and nobody's going to catch Delino DeShields.
6 hits for St. Louis. Delino with 43 stolen bases. We'll see if he tests Charles Johnson. The batter, Royce Clayton. He has a double in 3 at-bats. His other 2 trips, he struck out.
It's one of those situations. If you're going to test CJ, you better make sure you steal the bag, because if you're not stealing, McGwire might not bat in this inning.
Cook comes to the plate. Around the third, might be 2. A little hesitating by Counsell, but he gets the twin killer.
He still won't bat in this inning.
The 18th time Clayton has hit into a double play this season. He leads their team. We go to the bottom of the 6th for 3 St. Louis. Bottom half of the 6th inning, the Cardinals still up by a run, but this threat eliminated on the double play. Clayton hits it right to Bobby Bo.
I love it when it all starts with a good feed from the third baseman. And because he got the good...
But this threat eliminated on the double play. Clayton hits it right to Bobby Bo.
I love when it all starts with a good feed from the third baseman. And because he got the good feed and got it to Counsell quickly, even with a little hesitation, he was able to turn the double play. If you take your time to make that first throw to second, now the little hesitation might cost you.
Bobby trying to keep alive his batting streak. It's his longest of the year, 10 in a row. He's flat out deep to center and walked and scored a run. That happened in the 4th inning. Marlins down 1. They scored 3 times in the 4th inning against Morris, though. 2-0 to Big Bobby, and then it's Dalton and Alou. So good inning for the Marlin hitters. 4, 5, and 6 men and some heavy lumber against a guy who has probably broken 4 or 5 Marlin bats tonight, Matt Morris. With another good eye, 3-0.
Well, not good news for the Cardinals, Dave, as we had talked about. Tagnazzi's injury is to that right hip. Will be reevaluated after the ball game.
So Boney on, ball 4 there. And fans, kick off your Sunday mornings with the most celebrated pregame show. AutoNation USA presents Sunday Morning NFL. Join the team on Sports Channel every Sunday from 10 to 11:30 when we take you inside the huddle of the Bucs, Dolphins, and Jaguars. The NFL Florida style exclusively on Sports Channel. Darren Dalton, the batter now. He has doubled twice against Morris in the game. The last time he cranked one to the National League scoreboard in the 4th inning, and that brought home 2 runs.
He saw 2 first pitch fastballs that he hit the doubles on, and he saw another one right there. It was just out of the strike zone.
Another rip into right field. He's 3 for 3. O'Neill into second. So Dutch with 2 doubles and a Rip Snorton single. And the Marlins have men at first and second with nobody out.
What I tell you what, Matt Morris just keeps saying here, hit by 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and Dutch does okay. It's up. They're trying to pitch him up because they know he's a good low ball hitter, but he's getting to that high fastball too tonight.
Well, last week, 10 days, Darren has not had all that many good swings, but tonight he's had 3 beautiful at-bats. So he's come alive. Moises Alou, the batter now. Moises has not looked great at the bat twice tonight. He's popped out once to short and once to shallow left. He's gone after the first pitch, I think, every time. That one fouled away for strike 1. The pitch count on the right-hander, Matt Morris. 85 of them. A high number of strikes. He is in the strike zone most of the time, but 85 pitches thrown here into the 6th inning. The breaking ball settles in. It's 0-2 on Alou. Kid has a pretty good hook.
Yeah, he does. He'll use that. He's thrown a few change-ups tonight, but mostly the curve and that 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
2 men on. A drive foul hooking deep into the orange seats. A shot by Moises, but he just couldn't wait long enough.
He did get to that one, but that's a tough pitch to keep in fair territory. Activity in the bullpen. Left-hander, youngster, Rigo Beltran, and Dave Duncan keeping a close eye on Morris.
Little flare to center. Langford charging. He'll make the catch. That's the first down. Moises 0 for 3. And each time Moises has come up to bat, there has been a runner in scoring position, and he hasn't wasted many of those chances this year.
Well, and that just goes back to that debate. What moved him around to the number 3 spot? Here he is hitting 6th, and all 3 times tonight he's been up with men on base. By the way, that's the first 3-hit game for Dutch Dalton as a Marlin. Is 6th time he's done it this year. Shorten that stroke up a little bit. He told me the other day he wasn't happy with the way he was swinging the bat. Everything was a little too long.
Charles with a foul ball to the right, strike 1. He has struck out and walked tonight. You know, we used to hear CJ with the same complaints just about 2 months ago. Said he wanted to shorten up the stroke. Wasn't happy with his swing. He did make some adjustments. He's hitting .362 since the All-Star break. He's behind here 0-2.
I tell you, Morris just pumping in the heat right now. He tied up Moises Alou with that shallow fly ball to center, and a couple of good fastballs to Charles Johnson.
The Marlins were down in this game 4-0. Now it's 4-3. CJ lets it pass and the count 1-2.
Nice play by DeFelice to keep it right there in front, because Bobby Bonilla took a good peek at second, and then if you're the runner at first, Aaron Dalton, you have to make sure that guy at second goes before you take off.
Foul ball up by 3rd. Yeah, the Cardinal catchers have done good work tonight. Ignazi and DeFelice helping out this young pitcher, because his curveball, which he likes to throw into the dirt, can really wreak havoc, in particular with men on base. But there have been no wild pitches or pass balls tonight. CJ with a grounder to short. It goes 4-3. And Morris escapes despite putting the first 2 men on with a walk and a single. The inning over. We go to the 7th. It's 4-3 St. Louis.
Marlins baseball on Sports Channel is being brought to you in part by Fruit Loom. Try our new and improved men's and boys briefs. By Wilderness Country, the only South Florida stores with a complete Timberland lines of shoes, boots, clothing, and accessories for men, women, and children. And by Levinson Jewelers in Plantation, the exclusive jeweler of the Florida Marlins, right here on Sports Channel. There's your score. Cardinals ahead 4-3. And hello again, baseball fans. Joe Angel with Tommy Hutton. Well, they had the kid on the hook, and they kind of let him get away. Made some good pitches, though.
Yeah, he did. He came back, started pumping that fastball. We've seen some big double plays. Dennis Cook got Clayton to hit a double play last inning, and Morris was able to get the double play ball from CJ.
Now the big guy in here against Dennis Cook, Mark McGwire. He'll be followed by Langford and then Ronnie Gadd. It's a 1-run game. And a couple of very interesting decisions already by Jim Leland in this ball game, and a tough decision. As McGwire goes right through a Cook fastball.
One of the things, obviously, that Mark McGwire will have to adjust to are new pitchers, new faces, new arms, but he's seen Dennis Cook a time or two.
The Marlin bullpen has excelled in this game. One of the interesting decisions by Jim Leland was not to hit for Antonio Alfonseca with the tying run at second base and 2 outs. Another fastball, and again, McGwire goes right through it.
2 fastballs he's been able to keep up, and Dennis Cook got that one at 91 miles an hour.
What does he give him here? A double pump, and McGwire didn't like it.
He gives him a different look. That's what he gives him. Maybe he's got two choices. He can go up a little higher and miss with the fastball, see if he'll chase it, or he can bounce a breaking ball.
There's one pump.
So he tried to give him, McGwire waving the bat, trying to time it, and Dennis Cook gave him a double pump.
Fastball again. Hey, how about that? That power against power, and Dennis Cook won that bat.
That was great. Cook, he said, why fool around? Let me just throw in 3 fastballs and move on. And the third one, belt high, right down the middle of the plate.
Now we've got to work on Ray Lankford. Cardinals ahead 4-3, just getting started, top of the 7th inning.
So sometimes you try to outthink yourself and get too cute. Dennis Cook, 3 pitches, send him back to the dugout.
And he gets ahead again, a fastball. Not like Dennis Cook tonight, Tommy, is throwing as hard as we have seen him throw. Kind of popping the mitt, the ball moving well. Lankford in this game is 0 for 1 with a couple of walks and a run scored. And he misses low. And a high fastball. So it is 2-1 to Lankford. Meanwhile, in Atlanta, Andrew Jones, a 2-run single. Atlanta leads Cincinnati 5-2. Earlier, Fred McGriff hit a 2-run home run. And there's your score. Back of Greg Maddux. Lankford fouls it away. Even up at 2-2 now.
Well, you have to think, Joel, that Atlanta, they have been in such terrible offensive funk lately, really for quite a while. You have to think that sooner or later they're going to start coming out of it. And when they do, you know, with the starting pitching that they give you every night, they're going to get back and give Bobby Cox some winning streaks.
Now the 2-2 pitch. Now 3-2. Not a bad fastball, but Lankford wouldn't. St. Louis 4 runs on 6 hits. Florida with 3 runs on 6 hits. There have been no errors in the game thus far. And we have seen a mammoth home run by McGwire and a breaking ball strikeout of Ray Lankford.
And we've seen some super pitching right here from Dennis Cook, the veteran left-hander. Gets him with the break ball, the slider, and he chased a bad pitch. 3rd strikeout for Dennis.
Nice run again. That home run by McGwire, by the way, 500 feet onto the canvas in the upper deck in left center. That's a home run that Andre Galarraga would have been proud of. The big guy, Mark McGwire, number 40, and his 6th as a Cardinal. You know what's great about the home run, even though it was hit by the opposition, is Gant fouls it away. I mean, every fan who came to the ballpark here tonight, they thought about Mark McGwire and the thought that maybe might get a hold of one and hit one of those majestic blasts. And that's exactly what McGwire did.
Well, they've seen a lot of them on highlights, and tonight they were able to see one firsthand. Now that they've seen it, they've gotten that out of the way. Now they want to see their Marlins come back and win another game.
Well, they've done that 36 times so far this season. Come from behind wins. And working on another one here tonight. And takes it low and inside. Ronnie in this game is 1 for 3. Had a single run scored in the 2nd inning. He's also popped to center and grounded into a fielder's choice. And driven high to Devon White. Back into his left. And for Dennis Cook, it's a 1-2-3 with a couple of strikeouts. In the bottom of the 7th, it'll be the bottom of the order for Florida. And now the Marlins in the bottom of the 7th inning with the Cardinals ahead 4-3. Counsell takes a call strike. Well, Brian Jordan is out there defensively in right field now as Tony La Russa has made that change. Brian Jordan in right field. Counsell takes outside. Boy, Counsell his last time up with 2 outs. A single to right field, a drive and run to make it a 1-run game. And now the count to Counsell is 1 ball and 2 strikes. Rookie right-hander Matt Morris. As Counsell takes a tail.
Tough pitch right there to take because Morris trying to paint that outside corner just missed with that one.
Counsell 1 for 2 here tonight. That single to drive and run and a ground ball to short. And he takes it low in.
Well, you have to think, Joe, if the Cardinals get close to Houston, with the starting pitching they have with Morris, with Andy Bennis, Donovan Osborne, Stottlemyre, if they get Alan Bennis back.
Counsell line drive to the second baseman to Shields, and that's out number 1. Check out the Aflac trivia question brought to you by Aflac, insuring over 40 million people worldwide. What 3 Cardinals did the Marlins choose in the 1992 expansion draft? That's a good one.
Number 42, the pitcher, Dennis Cook.
We'll let you know. And we'll let you know almost immediately after Dennis Cook in here to hit. And, of course, we know what Dennis Cook has done offensively this year. He has been just about perfect. And he tried to bunt. And he missed it. Strike 1 to him.
Well, all he's done is that right there. 5 out of 6 with a home run, a couple of RBIs.
Down the right field line, there's Brian Jordan, and he gets there to make the catch.
I'm telling you what, the 2 outs that he's made have been ropes.
Right.
The other out that he made was a line drive into right center field.
Oh, he can swing it back, can't he? The answer to the Aflac trivia question. What 3 St. Louis Cardinals that were drafted by the Marlins in that 92 expansion draft? There they are. Scott Baker, Chris Carpenter, and Chucky Carr, who is now in Houston.
And on a 10-game hitting streak.
Sure is. Doing a great job in Houston for the Astros. Now Devo takes a high fastball. It's a 1-run game, bottom of 7th inning here. This is Joe Angel, along with Tommy Hutton and Dave O'Brien. Nice to have you aboard as Devo digs in again and takes ball 2. 2-0.
Oh boy, 2 line drive outs. Counsell and Dennis Cook here in this.
And remember, they had Matt Morris on the ropes in the 6th inning with a walk and a single and nobody out. Good fastball. But then Alou popped out and then CJ rounded into double play. That was that. Devo swings away, line drive and a base hit to left field. Again. Up with it, gets it again. A 2-out single from Devon White. He has gone 2-4. The inning remains alive. It'll bring up Edgar Renteria.
Boy, that was a nice swing by Devo right there. His other single he pulled. That time he takes his fastball moving away and just goes away. That's a pretty swing.
Now here's Edgar to hit. On White getting aboard with 2 outs. Now Renteria is 0 for 3. And he takes ball 1, a breaking pitch.
If Devon White is thinking stolen base, he probably is. The pitch he would like to go on would be that break ball, that slow curve as opposed to the fastball.
Yep. Edgar is only 1 for his last 11 as he swings and misses there. It's even up at 1-1. Devon White with his great speed. It's going to be very tough for Renteria to hit a gapper because they're pitching Renteria toward the middle in the outfield.
They also have real good speed out there, too.
Yep, there's a high fastball, but if he can hit one, say, to the left corner, well, Devon White might be able to score with his great speed.
Gant with good speed, Langford, and then the defensive change bringing Brian Jordan in.
Yep.
That upgrades his speed out in right field.
2-1 to Renteria. There goes Devo. The pitch is low, and the throw sails. Well, DeFelice looks like that ball got away from him. That ball sailed to the second baseman, to Shields, and Devo beat that throw easily.
Got a good jump. Little Pete Derrick, stolen base number 9 for Devo. Now he represents the tying run. Didn't get the curveball to go on, but the low fastball a little tough for DeFelice to come up and fire.
And the fastball to Renteria is upstairs. It'll bring up Gary Sheffield with 2 outs. Meanwhile, the right-hander Curtis King has begun to warm up in the St. Louis bullpen, and Dave Duncan, the chief coach, is out for a chance.
Well, believe me, they do not want Curtis King pitching Gary Sheffield. They want Matt Morris to work to him. He's pitched him well all night. The one base hit Gary got was a jam shot. He's tried to keep that fastball running on his hands all evening.
Well, the conversation continues out there. Now Mike Winters, the plate umpire, has thought to break up that conversation.
And if Gary doesn't see that fat ball, then that's when Morris drops off that curveball to him.
Now Sheffield 1 for 3 tonight. He had a single in the 4th inning and eventually scored a run on a double by Darren Dalton. He is also lined to short on a broken bat, and he is also grounded to third. So it is right-hander against right-hander as Gary Sheffield tries to bring Marlins all the way back, and he takes a high fastball. 1 ball and no strikes. Now, Tommy, as the season progresses, every at-bat in a pennant race becomes magnified. And for Gary Sheffield and the Marlins, this is a big at-bat. And they're going to get bigger as he takes a call strike. Sheffield, 14 home runs, 53 RBIs. Not the kind of numbers that the Marlins envisioned on August 22nd. But September is yet to come. Breaking ball in the dirt to Sheffield.
See Gary pointing to the ball, asking Mike Winters, the home plate umpire, when a ball hits in the dirt, sometimes it gets a little scuff mark, sometimes some extra mud on it. The pitcher occasionally will take advantage of that. Nothing on that ball as Winters gave it right back to him. Again, another nice play by DeFelice.
Now Sheffield waits on a 2-1 pitch. And here it comes. He hooked it foul. Again, Sheffield just couldn't wait long enough. There are your base runners. Devon White, Renteria, Devo the tying run, Renteria the lead run, and a concerned Tony La Russa in the St. Louis dugout. Breaking ball. He struck him out. No runs, a hit, a walk. They lead 2. End of 7. St. Louis by 1. Right, Cardinals in the 8th inning. They lead by 1 here. And fans, reminder, the Marlins Summer Bar Tour is coming to your area. You can join us on Tuesday, August 26th at Wilt Chamberlain's in Boca. You win great prizes into the Trivia Challenge. And watch the Marlins as they take on the Chicago Cubs. Catch all the action from 7:30 until closing time at Wilt Chamberlain's. I would imagine that at Wilt Chamberlain's place, all the drinks are tall ones.
Yeah, you can't get a short one there.
No, no.
Well, Jay Powell wants to continue the trend of the way the bullpen is pitched tonight. Antonio Alfonseca, a good 2 2/3. Dennis Cook, a solid 2 innings of work. And now it's up to Jay Powell to keep it a 1-run ball game. And you know that Tony La Russa, after getting the strong 7 innings out of Morris, he's got some specialists down there in his bullpen. He'll probably go to them.
Well, they had Matt Morris on the ropes a couple of innings and just did not come up with a big hit. And the kid somehow survived it. And now here's Gary Gaetti to lead off against right-hander Jay Powell.
Well, he survived a lot of it with making some great pitches. Snapped off good hook to strike out Gary Sheffield last inning.
Boy, he sure did. That was a nasty pitch. Good one, and Sheffield just couldn't get a piece of it. And Gaetti takes a good fastball. Well, you're right, Tommy. The bullpen tonight has kept the Marlins in the game and has given them a chance to come back here. starting with Alfonseca, then Cook, and now here's Jay Powell to try to keep it going. Popped him up. Backing up is Renteria. Alou coming in, and Moises will take charge. Out number 1. Fans reminder, tune in to Sports Channel next Monday and also on Tuesday when we'll be in Chicago at Wrigley Field to take on the Cubbies. Sammy Sosa and company. The coverage getting underway 7:30 on Sports Channel. Your home for 100% pure Florida sports.
Well, that ivy will be a little greener than it was when we were there in April.
It'll be alive. Man, alive. Was that bitterly cold in Chicago? It seems like eons ago. Mike DeFelice in here, his second at bat, struck out his first time up. 1-1 to him. DeFelice, who came out as a pinch hitter for the starting catcher Pagnazzi, who suffered an injury and had to leave the game. Mike DeFelice. Breaking ball fouled away by DeFelice. It is 1-2 now to the Cardinals catcher. Well, St. Louis, they got 1 in the second, and they got 3 more in the third to lead 4-0, but Marlins got 3 in the fourth and nothing since.
There's one of those specialists that I was talking about, Tony Fosses. Most of the time just comes in to pitch the left-hander.
Got a swing out of this. He struck him out. Jay Powell gets his first strikeout.
Well, the bullpen continues.
Number 3.
5 in the third inning now for the bullpen. They have 8 strikeouts. They've allowed just 2 base hits and no runs.
You know, we just saw Tony Fosses. I would imagine he's getting geared for Darren Dalton. Because Bonilla, they're not going to make him hit right-handed. I don't imagine. Little pop-up. Counsell backing up. Does the breaststroke. Says he has it. He does. And for Jay Powell, it's a quick 1-2-3. In the bottom of the 8th inning, coming up will be Bonilla, Dalton, and Alou, with the Cardinals ahead 4-3. All right, down the bottom of the 8th, where the Cardinals up by 1, Bonilla to lead off against left-hander Tony Fosses. And Tommy, they brought in the left-hander, and Bonilla will hit right-handed. The fans remember the real yellow pages from Bell South. They continue to team up with the Marlins to help beat cancer. They're chipping in $50 to the Children's Cancer Caring Center at the Cleveland Clinic for every home run that's hit by a Marlin this season. That's a great cause. You know what they should do is chip in $50 for that McGwire home run tonight. That baby, 500 feet. Now Bonilla hit against the left-hander, Tommy. And we know what he's done against left-hand pitching this year. And he takes a call strike. So La Russa made the same move that was made the other day that backfired when Bonilla hit the grand slam. Bonilla hitting well over 4. In fact, nobody has hit left-handers better in the National League this year than Bobby Bonilla has.
Yeah, 408. Of course, La Russa knows those numbers.
And takes a breaking ball outside.
But Matt Morris threw 115 pitches. And Jeff Conine, who will pin it for Darren Dalton. So with that number of pitches, he went to the bullpen. A little surprised, though, that he went with Fosses to face Bobby Bonilla.
Yep, it's a bouncer foul. Gaetti grabbed it behind third base, but in foul territory. Look at the Cardinal bullpen. Hitter, the Eck on the left, and the young right-hander, Curtis King, on the right. Now Bonilla with a couple of walks and a deep fly ball out, so he's over 1 with a run scored. Bobby Bo, 1 ball and 2 strikes. 15 home runs, 80 RBIs for Bonilla. Came in with a batting average of .313. The left-hander, the ageless one, Tony Fosses. Bonilla loops it foul off the fist, out of play. Atlanta 6, Cincinnati 2 in the 6th inning. Fred McGriff, a 2-run home run for the Bravos. Andrew Jones, a 2-run single in that game. Looks like Greg Maddux is going to win again. Two to Bobby Bo. Look at the play by Gaetti. My goodness, what a play. Bonilla hit the daylights out of it. But Gaetti was up to it defensively, robbing Bonilla of at least a double. My.
And notice how he knew that he had time. Once he picked that ball, took the time because he knew Bobby Bonilla was the runner. Well, 3 Gold Gloves Gaetti has won, and he's 39 years old making a play like that.
And now that Jeff Onine has been announced, Tony La Russa comes out to make a double switch. Willie McGee is coming in to play right field. And it's going to be the young right-hander Curtis King in here to pitch. They're going to save Eckersley for the 9th inning. Well, Tony Foss's got lucky on a great play by Gary Gaetti. We'll call the bullpen here with Bell South. Joe Angel, Tommy Hudson back at the ballpark. Here we are, bottom of the 8th inning. 1 gone, bases empty. On the Marlin Television Network tomorrow, 7 o'clock. You see 2 teams, the Cardinals and the Marlins. All the coverage on deck at 6:30 on Sports Channel.
Well, there's a look at Curtis King. He's only been in 10 games, but he's picked spots. The last 3 games that he's appeared in, he picked up wins.
And here's Jeff Onine to hit against the right-hander. Niner takes a strike on the inside corner. Well, Bonilla almost made that move backfire. They brought in the left-hander. Bonilla hit the ball real hard, but Gary Gaetti, he's won a couple Gold Gloves at third base, and he showed you why. Otherwise, Bonilla right now would be standing on second base, the would-be tying run with nobody out.
Well, you can't hit a ball much harder than Bobby Bonilla. Well, yeah, you can. Mark McGwire did.
You're right, not much harder. At least not on the ground. Now 2-1 to Conine.
Gaetti, just a couple of days ago, turned 39, and it hasn't affected his reflexes at all.
Ground ball to Fish. Clayton on to first to get the out.
That's why some people thought that the Cardinals might be getting too old. Gaetti at 39. Eckersley's warming up in the bullpen. He's 42. Foss's just left the game is 40. And Rick Honeycutt, who's on the disabled list, a left-hander, is also 42.
So many of the Cardinals might be in their swan song. Here's Moises Alou now with 2 outs and the bases empty. Alou's 0 for 3 and he takes a breaking ball outside. Well, the Marlins have certainly had their chances in this game. And now ball 2 to Moises.
Didn't take you long to see this young pitcher work. Curtis King runs his fastball inside the right-handers, then goes away with the slider.
Now it is 2-1 to Moises Alou. Gaetti again guarding against the extra base hit in the 8th inning as Alou digs in again and takes it low after a check swing. So it's now 3-1, and on deck is Charles Johnson. Angel Hernandez, the first base umpire, said no, Alou did not swing. Moises with 17 home runs. Breaking ball, Tapper, third base. Gaetti, tough play. He'll hold it. And very wisely so. Oh, the infield single for a little bit. PJ a chance with 2 outs.
Well, you don't play 16 years in the big leagues to not know the best choice right here. And the best choice is to hold on. If he throws it away, knew he didn't have a play. If he throws it away, Moises is at second base, maybe at third base.
Now CJ will try to extend the inning here. He is 0 for 2. He has struck out. He has walked. And he has grounded into a double play. We're in the bottom of the 8th with the Cardinals head 4-3. CJ digs in against the right-hand Curtis King. Here it comes. CJ, little chopper. The ball came up and hit him. as he stood in the batter's box. So the count of 1-1. Johnson with the right-hander Robbie Nen warming up in the Marlins bullpen. Joe Johnson with 16 home runs, a career high. Charles Johnson with 51 RBIs, that's a career high. And a fastball right down I-95. And it is 0-2 now.
Well, you sit on the bench and you watch a pitch work that you've never seen before, and you get that first pitch fastball. Now in the back of your mind you think, well, he may go with that slider. And he went with a fastball right there.
There's the slider, and CJ, did he go? They appeal. Nope. The umpire made the call, Mike Winters, and CJ goes down on strikes. No runs, an infield single. They leave him. We head to the ninth. Marlins down by 1. All right, Jay Powell going to work here in the top of the ninth inning with the Cardinals ahead 4-3. Our birthday is a special day that deserves more than a bakery cake. This time, give that someone special a Dairy Queen frozen cake. No matter what the age, everyone loves a DQ frozen cake. Order now. Call 203-CAKE.
Now we saw Jeff Conine pinch hit for Darren Dalton. What a nick for Dutch Dalton, too, Joe. A couple of doubles, sharply hit single. And so Jeff stays into the ballgame. Jay Powell still out there. Worked a perfect 1-2-3 inning in the 8th. And when Tony La Russa made that double move with Willie McGee going to right field, Gee settled in that number 9 spot. So all of a sudden he's the leadoff hitter here in the 9th inning.
They'll be followed by the top of the order into Shields and Clayton here, with the Cardinals enjoying a 4-3 lead right now. Jay Powell got him 1-2-3 in the 8th. And now McGee will back away. By the way, the game tomorrow night is going to be Andy Bennis against Kevin Brown. That'll be a stingy game tomorrow, I think.
A couple of stingy right-handers.
Oh, yeah. They don't give you a whole lot, do they? Only a very shallow. Chances. Slicer, foul, just outside the bag at first. Now 2-1 to Clayton. Now Jim Leland hoping for a bit of a miracle here in the top of the 9th inning, maybe try to keep it a 1-run game and have a chance in the bottom of the inning. Willie McGee, the base runner at third. Delano DeShields, the base runner at second base. You saw the infield drawn in. And Clayton, the bound ball to Conine. Here's the play at the plate. And McGee is tagged out by CJ. McGee tried to stop to maybe get into a rundown to try to give Clayton a chance to get to second base, but it never happened. Conine got the ball to CJ, who then tagged him out.
Good play by Jeff Conine to come up and fire, and you need to make a good throw. And then McGee, with his mistake, he doesn't stay in that rundown long enough. He got too close to the plate. If he stays in the rundown, which is what he was trying to do, then Clayton can get to second base.
Now we're going to have a double switcher. Jim Eisenreich is coming on defensively to play left field. Now Jim Leland comes out to make that double switch with Mark McGwire coming up to hit. So he's going to see Robbie Nen here. Eisenreich will bat number 9, which means that he'll hit second in the bottom of the 9th inning. So again, with Robbie Nen coming on the pitch, we'll call the bullpen with Bell South. Right, with the Cardinals ahead 4-3, top of the 9th inning, and before Robbie Nen goes to work on Mark McGwire, let's check out the Marlins schedule brought to you by Wilderness Country. See the Cardinals again over the weekend. Tomorrow night, Andy Bennis against Kevin Brown, and eventually St. Louis on Sunday, then to Chicago next week. 4 games at Wrigley Field in Chicago.
Well, a double switch by Jim Leland moves Jim Eisenreich into left field in the number 9 spot in the hitting order. Robbie Nen comes into pitch and bats in Moises Alou's spot. And tell you what Jim Leland is doing right here, he's going for the strikeout. He knows a fly ball will bring in another run. He's going with the power against the power.
And just in case McGwire does put the ball in play, the middle of the infield looking for that 2-for-1 deal. And Robbie Nen with the fastball. McGwire swings right through it. And that one sounded about 98. And it was 98 miles an hour.
Well, if you remember, Dennis Cook blew him away 3 fastballs in that area, belt high to above, that were around 991.
Oh, baby.
Is this what it's all about, or what? A 500-foot home run earlier in the game. Now you got power against power trying to blow him away with 97-mile-an-hour fastballs.
And McGwire was late, and they got nothing in 2. Boy, strikeout is exactly what the doctor needs right now. And here it comes. Uh-oh. Oh, my goodness. He did it again. For the second time tonight, Mark McGwire has found the upper deck in left center field as he turns around a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. And McGwire with a couple of home runs and 5 RBIs. And the Cardinals that put this baby away. My goodness.
Talked about those fastballs and where Robbie Nen wanted to get them. The others were up a little higher. This one out over the plate and down. Down a little bit in the zone for McGwire. If it's up a little bit, Dennis Cook was able to put it. He swings through it for strike 3.
And Mark McGwire has become the first player in the history of ProPlayer Stadium to hit 2 home runs in the upper deck in the same game. And the crowd is leaving. 26,650. I'll tell you what, Marlins look like they're going to lose this game, Tommy, but the fans were treated by Mark McGwire. And there's a slicing line drive and a foul ball down the field line. Wow, a couple of shots by McGwire. Now the first one was 500 feet. That one, I would imagine, maybe about 485 or 490.
Almost in the identical spot over the Don Shula logo in that upper deck.
But
not quite as high up.
Right, just a little lower. Boy, he's picked on Don Shula twice tonight. Man alive. Well, that's the great thing about Mark McGwire, his power and what he's accomplished. He's one of the few guys, Tommy, who gives you what you came to see. Is he something else or what?
You know, the unfortunate part, Joe, is that Robbie Nen came in. You know how many times we talk about him getting ahead, throwing strikes? Came in and was throwing blistering fastballs. And you knew he was going to stay with it. He just needed to get it up. The mistake he made, he didn't get it up in the area where he got in the first 2.
Well, the Cardinals now lead it 7-3. Conine to Robbie Nen to get the out. As today's Miller Lite VIP is Thomas Sims, who lives in Pompano Beach. Mr. Sims has won a Miller Lite Impact filled with ProPlayer merchandise. Also is now eligible for the grand prize drawing to win batter's box sheets. Also throw out the first pitch, meet some of the Marlins, and receive some great Marlins gear, too. Remember, you stop by your participating Miller Lite retailer and register to be the Miller Lite Marlins VIP. And here's Ronnie Gant. Now Mark McGwire with 2 home runs, combined about 1,000 each. Wow.
And you know what? I have no problem with the fastball on that pitch. Some may say, well, why didn't he snap off that good slider? Get him to chase it. We've seen him miss the fastball up all evening. It's also leave yourself open for snapping off that slider that doesn't snap, and you hang it out over the plate.
Well, Chris Berman calls him Mark Eve of Destruction McGwire, and it fits. Boy, he can destroy you.
You know, came into this game having hit home runs in 22 of the 26 ballparks he's played in. So now it's 23 of the 27 ballparks he's played in.
Now 2-2 to Ronnie Gant.
And I would imagine the only reason there are 4 ballparks he hasn't hit home runs in is he's had few at bats. He had those heel injuries, the heel surgery, back problems. So he probably just missed a few parts and hasn't had many at-bats in them. Because there's no ballpark that can hold him.
I'll tell you what, I played golf with Mark McGwire. And boy, can he play golf. He's a very good golfer. He hits a ton. But he's a good player. He's got nice touch around the green.
Hey, you'd take that drive all day,
Oh,
wouldn't
baby. That baby is never out of bounds. There's Von White. And the side retired. But the damage has been done thanks to Mark Eve of Destruction McGwire as we head to the bottom of the ninth. All right, here we go. Bottom of the ninth inning. Joe Angel with Tommy Hutton. The left-hander Rico Beltran is in here pitching for the Cardinals as he delivered to the pinch hitter Kurt Abbott for strike one.
Well, Beltran the lefty, so Jim Leland goes to the bench and Kurt Abbott pinch hits.
By the way, the distance on Mark McGwire's second home run, the estimated distance at 462 feet. It looked longer than that to me. But combined just under 1,000 feet for his 2 home runs. Those are Hall of Fame home runs. Just over a Hall of Fame football coach. He hit the Shula out of it. Both of them. And now Abbott back away. And now 2-1 to Abbott.
Well, you look back, there were some situations in this game where the Marlins, with one big hit, one way or the other, could have tied or gone ahead earlier also.
Oh, yeah. Ironic too, Tommy, because really the bullpen did a pretty good job tonight.
Yeah, they did.
And Abbott, for a second there, had no idea that was ball 4.
Of course, we saw Eckersley warming up, and obviously he's going to come in had it been a save situation. He still may, because all of a sudden now he's getting up to start tossing again. But with the score 7-3 to start the inning, Tony La Russa went to the younger Beltran.
Well, let's see, one more base runner, and the tying run will be on deck. Then it would be a save situation.
It's all you ask for in this 9th inning situation. Get that tying run to the batter's box.
That's right. Just give yourself a chance. Now Duncan is coming out again to talk to the left-hander Beltran as Dennis Eckersley continues to warm up in the St. Louis bullpen. In the 8th inning now, Atlanta leads Cincinnati 6-2. San Diego and Mets are tied at 5-5 in the 8th inning. The Dodgers lead Philadelphia 5-3 in the 9th. And fans, this telecast is presented by the authority of the Florida Marlins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the written consent of the Florida Marlins. Now Jim Eisenreich, part of that double switch earlier, got a chance to hit, take strike. And now it is 1-2 to Eisen. Inside to Eisenreich. It is even up at 2-2 now.
You'd have to think that he'll see another fastball, because I don't think Beltran wants to go 3-2.
Eisenreich just trying to find a hole out there to give the Marlins another base runner, and he sends it to left center, backing up his leopard. Not a good idea to hit the ball there. It's out number 1.
A little too much left that time for Eisen. He prefers to drive that ball on the line into that left center field gap area. Just got under it a little too much.
Now the top of the order comes up, and Devon White. Devo's had a good ball game. A couple of hits, a stolen base, has gone 2 for 4. On deck is Renteria, and then the big boy after that, so they need a couple of base runners to at least have a chance here. After all, they are within a grand slam. Devo takes a call strike. now 1-1.
And the Marlins have hit a few salamis this year.
Yes, they have. They got, what, 5?
What did we figure out the other night? Second or third in the league.
Yeah.
Atlanta has 9. The Marlins were second or third.
Devo trying to keep it going here. Needs some base runners. And the count 2-1 now.
Right about now, the only pitch Beltran can get over is this fastball.
Abbott, the base runner at first base. He got a walk. Yeah, there's Langford again. Out number 2. Now Duncan is coming out again. And the is going to be summoned. Even though at the moment it is not a safe situation, but he has warmed up. So when he does warm up, hey, he may as well bring him in.
Might as well keep some work, because he's warmed up a couple of times.
So it'll be Dennis Eckersley coming on the pitch here in the bottom of the 9th inning with the Cardinals ahead 7-3. We'll call the bullpen with Bell South. Right back at ProPlayer Stadium in the bottom of the 9th inning, and Dennis Eckersley in here. Pitch to Edgar Renteria. Marlins who need a couple of base runners and then a bomb to get back in the game. Meanwhile, the Dodgers have beaten the Phillies 5-3. That's a final score now. So if the Marlins go on to lose this game, the Dodgers would then be only 4 games behind Florida in the wild card race. Now the Mets, they had tied San Diego in the 8th inning at a 5-5 game. If the Mets go on to win that game, they would then be only 3.5 games behind Florida in the wild card race. Good fastball. Dennis Eckersley. Now again, this is not a safe situation. And fouled away by Renteria.
To the guy who is second all time in that department with 383.
Yes, sir. Of course, now the Cardinals in the Central Division with the victory tonight, they're going to keep pace with Houston. Right now, the Astros leading Colorado 9-1 in the 7th. The Cardinals 8.5 games behind Houston, so they could not afford to lose here tonight. Tony La Russa. He's been to postseason many times. But Tony knows that if the Cardinals can cut it to about 5 games going into September, anything can happen.
I think that's what he's shooting for, too.
1-2 Renteria. Edgar 0 for 3 with a base on ball. Renteria battling up there. On deck is Gary Sheffield, and Bobby Bonilla would follow him. Well, Mark McGwire tonight made his ProPlayer Stadium debut, and it was memorable. This one is in the loss column. St. Louis wins it 7-3. Mark McGwire with a couple of home runs, totaling almost 1,000 feet. We'll be back.
Florida Marlins baseball on sports channels, being brought to you in part by Bell South. Nobody knows a neighbor like a neighbor. By Southwest Airlines. With Bears Solo, you have the freedom to go places and do things you never thought possible. Fly Southwest Airlines. By Genuine Chevrolet. Chevy's got something for you. By the Discover Card, a proud partner of the Smithsonian's 150th anniversary. By AutoNation USA, with up to 1,000 remarkably low-priced pre-owned cars. AutoNation USA, the better way to buy a car. And by Miller Lite, who reminds you that anything can happen at Miller time.
And here is tonight's Miller Lite play of the game.
Well, our Miller Lite play of the game tonight will be the first home run of Mark McGwire. It came in the 3rd inning off Tony Saunders, and it went a mere 500 feet into the upper deck here at ProPlayer Stadium. McGwire's first visit to the stadium.
And there you see the final scores. St. Louis keeping pace with the Astros. The Marlins about to lose a game. In fact, that's a final now. Atlanta beat Cincinnati 6-2. And so Florida is now 5 games back of Atlanta.